I went on the worst date of my life last night, and I got catfished before. So if this is the worst date of my life, that says a lot.
First of all, let's acknowledge that dating, especially in this digital age, can feel like navigating a minefield. We're bombarded with dating apps, curated profiles, and the pressure to present the best version of ourselves. It's no wonder that some of us are going into dates with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The sources show a recurring theme of disrespect and a lack of consideration on first dates. I'm talking about guys who show up late, cancel last minute, with flimsy excuses, are glued to their phones, or even worse, make inappropriate comments or advances. That behavior immediately tells me all I need to know about their character.
First of all, I tell my homegirl, I'm like, I really don't feel like going on this date. And she like, girl, he just graduated PA school. He is a doctor. You're going on this date. I tell him I do not like bars. I like hookah bars, hookah lounges, but I don't like bars. That's not my vibe. He takes me to a bar. And immediately I'm like, and he's like, oh, is this not your vibe? Let's go somewhere else. And we end up at a place that I know, a spot that I know that I like. Immediately, he puts his arm around me and starts taking pictures with me like I'm his wife, like I'm his woman. Mind you, this is my first time meeting this man. He is literally taking pictures of me, with me. So I'm annoyed and I'm like looking at him like, that's weird. And he's like, what's weird? I said, it's weird that you're taking pictures of me and with me. I don't know you like that. Like, I don't. Homeboy has an attitude. He's just like, oh, that's weird? Okay. Like, he's big man. Like, big man. So the man comes to take our order for drinks. I order my drink. My go-to is lychee martini. So I order it. Then he doesn't know what he wants. So my drink comes out and he's like, oh, can I taste? I'm like, sure. And there's no straws. So he's like mouth to glass on my drink. So he's like, oh, this is really good, and orders the same exact thing. So of course when his drink comes out, I'm like, here, you take my drink, I'll take this one. I think that's fair, y'all. I personally think that's fair. But homeboy is even bigger mad. Like, he wanted me to drink off of his mouth, and I don't know why. So I'm just feeling uncomfortable. It's just weird. Conversation's going, but he's just doing too much. So by now his words are slurring. He's a little tipsy. He's like on his second, third drink. Word slurring. He's asking me the same questions that he not only asked me through text, but asked me literally 2 minutes ago. And I'm just like, it's time to go. So the question he keeps asking me is what type of men I like. And I continue to tell him, I already told you I like confident. Oh, I'm confident. I look good. I know I look good. And he's from New York. So if you know New York men, it's that type of New York man. Fast forward through a whole lot of uncomfortableness. He forces himself to hold my hand while we're walking to my car. 10 years later, we make it to my car, finally. He's asking me if I had a good time, if I think that we'll be able to go out to meet again. I'm not a fan of pissing men off, especially when there's no one else around, so I'm like, we'll talk tomorrow. And then he tried to kiss me.
If you're ever on a first date and you feel uncomfortable or you're just not enjoying yourself, then these are some tips on how to get out. Number one, if it's a thing where you guys are just not meshing, it's just not really working out, just tell him straight up, I don't think this date is working out, and just offer to pay your half of the bill. If you ain't got bill money, why did you leave your house? Because you don't know how these guys are gonna do you. Now you ain't got no transportation home because you didn't open your legs. This second one is if you're a little bit afraid, like the date still didn't go well, but it's not a thing where like it's a peak thing, but just tell him you're gonna go to the toilet, and instead of going to the toilet, sneak kind of around and go to like the restaurant host. Go to him or her and say, I'm not enjoying my date, can I just pay for my half of that table, pay for the table, and then just cut. They'll tell him that you've cut. And then number three, this last one, don't do this unless the guy's actually tapped. I would only recommend doing this to somebody that's touching you inappropriately or just making you feel uncomfortable. But girl, just pick up your stuff and leave. Obviously, don't make it too obvious that you're cutting. Pick up your coat, sneakily pick up your bag and just cut. Block him on all social media, block his number, everything. That's that. Anybody that says it is harsh, don't touch people without their permission. It's that simple. I haven't even... and you think you can touch, that's brazy. There's no conversation needed when someone touches you inappropriately.
Demanding Ubers on the first date, first couple dates when you don't know a man is cheap. I'm going to explain. As a woman, your safety is priceless. Something everyone, including men, knows. It is a very dangerous world for us. And you just compromise said safety for an Uber ride. Now let's be generous here. Maybe the Uber round trip costs $60 to $200. Is that high enough of a price to tell a man where you live? And this is the part where you guys get in the comments and say, well, I'm being quite clever. I went to the bar down the street. I went to a different neighborhood. It's not hard to figure out where you live, bitch. First of all, let's be clear that the idea that you should charge a man for every second of your time going to see him and leaving him comes from 304s. Very lovely ladies. No hate for them will be tolerated on this page. But what I'm saying is they do that because they work in a dangerous profession, and so their services come at a premium. What premium are you charging? An Uber ride and dinner? Do you think that a couple $100s is worth telling a complete stranger? A stranger who's trying to impress you by flexing his resources. And if he's not lying about those resources, who has the means to maybe do some terrible shit to you if he knows where you live? And now you say, but Alexia, that doesn't happen to most people, blah, 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 blah. Just the fact that you would sell out your location for the promise of some food and a car ride makes it seem like you don't value your safety that much. When you don't seem like you value your safety that much, you look a little cheap. Telling a man that you need certain things to be impressed doesn't make you look high value. It makes you look like you've never been around nice shit in your life. And when he knows that you've never been around nice shit, he's not whipping out the nicest whiskey in his collection to impress you. Honestly, anything over $100 will kind of get you to go. So much of the high value man dating advice is coming from girls who only saw a flash of middle tier shit before laying down to get fucked and dumped. You tell a guy too early that you'll dance for money, he's not going to throw hundreds on the stage. He knows that you'll be super excited just to see a nickel. And I'm not saying you need to date someone broke. I'm saying don't look so fucking desperate for $1. It's a bit pathetic. Oh, costume change, gym fit, because I had another point. If he really has the resources to just send you cars, you're going to benefit by dating him. You would benefit more by not telling people where you live.
Yeah, I'm on a date, right? And I ordered 6 different meals, and this man do not want to pay for my food. I don't know why.
Tell me more. Why does he want you to pay for the bill?
And I really didn't have the appetite for anything. He forced me to come to a restaurant. So now I'm here. I ordered 6 different dishes.
Come again, please tell us what you ordered while on this date.
And I got jerk chicken, this one meal. I started eating out the roster pasta.
This is ridiculous. Who orders 6 different things from the menu?
And I got me some oxtails too, but I also wanted me a fried snapper, and this like the pineapple bowl.
Excuse me, ma'am, if you want him to pay for 6 different dishes, how about you eat all 6 of them right in front of him so he can prove that you're not trying to feed your whole family?
And that's his drink. That's my drink. I ain't really like that drink. And he got the 2 liquors. But y'all,
ma'am, you're not going on a date. Sound like you're trying to grocery shop.
I can eat. Oh, I forgot to show y'all. I had got some fried green tomatoes and...
So you turned a restaurant date into a buffet date? Wow, all you can eat, huh?
He's like, little lady, you really can't eat. And I'm just like, you invited me out.
See, it's women like you that make it hard for the women who really enjoy going on quality dates with quality men. Because fellas see videos like this, and they be like, wait a minute, I hope this is an isolated situation. I hope y'all all ain't like this. I know you're not. Most dudes don't know that.
I went on the weirdest first date. I went through a really messy breakup, and this was my first date back. Unfortunately, I fall under that category of women that dates losers, who don't take them out on dates, don't spend money on them, and lives in their apartment rent-free, like a potted plant. So when this guy that I meet off of Bumble tells me he's gonna take me to an art museum, I'm jumping for joy at the bare minimum. I get there early. I park, right? He says, let's meet in front of the museum. Okay, fine. And so I'm walking up the hill, right? I'm walking up the hill. It's like a 10-minute walk, and I'm not breaking a sweat because, you know, I go to the gym. I'm standing there waiting for him. There are people walking by, whatever. And I hear behind me, please, God, please let this not be the man that I'm gonna be spending the next couple of hours with. Picture this, he arrives, khaki pants, a blue long-sleeved plaid shirt tucked into the khaki pants, and some like boots. Let me show you what I was wearing.
This is the outfit. I mean, I'm gonna arrive like this.
Business casual, versus girl who spends too much time on Pinterest and is 2 pins away from discovering a community that Tumblr in 2013 would have really liked. Yes, it's like the ED Tumblr aesthetic. Sorry, it was kind of a bad joke. Regardless, he also has his keys. There's like 7 keys attached to his belt loop, and every time he walks, he sounds like a Walmart cash register, y'all. I'm like, hey, he's like, hi, I had to walk uphill. Brother, take a beat. This is our first impression. Go to the corner, take a sec. He was like, yeah, I'm fine. Also, I didn't RSVP like for the free tickets. So he's kind of like trying to figure out the ticket situation. I am extremely turned off by this because you've asked me to go on a date. Where are the tickets? Like, let's be a little proactive here. There's only like one exhibit here. So we decided to go to the Broad, which is a bigger art museum. While we're in line trying to get the tickets, his phone kind of stops working and he's not able to get the tickets. And so he just kind of rage quits in the middle. And then I'm doing it. Then I get the tickets, whatever, you know? And then I'm like, all right, let's go. And he kind of looks at me like, where do we go? Lead the way, brother. You are the please. And so I was like, okay, like, let me lead the way then, princess. And so, you know, I walk, I'm about to open the door and then I stop. And then he's like, and I'm like, thanks. And then I walk in. Awkward. After this, we go get a matcha. At this point, I was just trying to give it a really fair shot. You know, I came out on this date. It's my first date back. I'm just trying to make the most of it. He talked about all of his exes, which I thought was a way to kind of make things a little bit more platonic, but that is certainly not what was happening. And then he tells me, oh, I've been pro-Palestine since 2021. You're gonna tell a brown woman? I should have said, oh, only 2021? He then also tells me that he thought that he was bi. And he was like, oh yeah, like, you know, I tried it out on Grindr, but like, I don't think I'm bi because like people out there scared me. He then says like, oh, I generally never feel connections on a first date, but like, obviously that's like not how I feel now. And I was like, oh, okay. Also, one of my friends got brought up in conversation who is like a popular content creator, and he started freaking out over the fact that I knew who that was. He literally had to sit down. He was like, I'm so sorry. Honestly, like, I'm just a little bit starstruck right now. Like, he needed a moment. Like, and I was like, dude, oh my God. Like, no. He like started talking about Hassan, and honestly, listen, Hassan is not my type. I can objectively tell you, yes, he's very attractive, but like, if you are a man and you're on a date with a girl that's not feeling you, please don't mention Hassan, because now I'm thinking about Hassan and I'm looking at you. And the date is over. I cut it short because he is like literally like explaining just the plot. He explained the plot to like 4 movies to me, which movie guys, please stay away from me. I'm not renewing my AMC A-list membership for another man. I literally cannot do it. I don't use Letterboxd anymore. I am traumatized. He walks me to my car. I give him one of these, you know, like one armed hug. Then I leave. He texts me 10 minutes after we've parted ways. No, like, oh, it was so nice seeing you, blah, blah, blah. He says, and I quote, P.S. I would have totally gone in for an end of date kiss, but IDK if that was the vibe, and I didn't want to give you the ick. Bro, you gave me the ick when you arrived on our date with black specks under each and every nail that you had and white residue in your sideburn. And listen, I nipped it in the bud. I told him I didn't like him. I'll say this, his only crime, being cringe. Is that, you know, it's not the worst thing that you could be as a guy, but I'm just not looking forward to meeting any other men anytime soon. So, yeah.
It's not about being high maintenance. It's about basic respect for another person's time and effort. Your time is valuable, and you shouldn't have to tolerate a date where you're made to feel like a second thought. If someone can't be bothered to show you common courtesy on a first date, they definitely won't later on. One thing that the sources made me think about is the power of first impressions. Now, I know some say first impressions aren't everything, but they definitely set a tone. It's not just about physical appearance, but also about how a person carries themselves, how they treat you, and what their actions say about their character. I mean, the sources are filled with stories about guys who are either too eager or not eager enough, like the guy who showed up with a toothbrush on date 2 and decided that was the night he was going to sleep over. Or the guy who got mad at his date for not knowing what Tubi is. Or the guy who was asking about a woman's balcony instead of actually listening to her. And the woman who felt a man's love bombing was a red flag and a way to rush things. Ladies, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. You don't owe anyone your time or your energy if you are uncomfortable or if they make you feel disrespected. I'm not saying to be overly cynical, but you also don't need to give people the benefit of the doubt when they're consistently showing you who they are. Too often, we are taught to be nice and to give people a chance, but sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is walk away. Don't feel guilty about ending a date early if you're not feeling it, if the conversation is dead, or if their behavior is making you uneasy. You can excuse yourself to the restroom, or be direct and simply state that the date is not working. Let's talk about this pressure to split the bill. I have mixed feelings on that one. I understand the desire for equality, but for me, the first date is a chance for someone to show a basic level of consideration, and that can include covering the bill. I understand that times are tough, but there's also something to be said for the traditional gesture of a person offering to pay. I'm not saying a man has to pay for every single thing, and I'm not going to be ordering 6 plates of food on the first date, but if he asks you on the date, he should be willing to foot the bill. Forcing a split on a first date can be a way to avoid putting in the work and showing respect. If the man wants to be treated like a king, he needs to treat his date like a queen, or at least like a human being deserving of respect. And I also think that if you know you're going on a date and can't afford to pay your portion of the bill, you shouldn't go on that date. I know that not all men are bad and that there are decent guys out there, but it is important to be realistic and acknowledge the trends that the sources mention, as well as the many bad experiences that women share on social media. One source also mentions that there are men who feel like they should get return on their investment after taking a woman to lunch, which is just bizarre. There is something deeply wrong with that kind of thinking. We need to shift the focus from finding the one to finding someone who is compatible, respectful, and values us for who we are. This means setting clear boundaries, communicating your needs, and not settling for less than you deserve. It's also important to remember that you're worthy of love and respect, whether you're dating or not. Dating is a learning process. You will encounter people that are not for you, and that's okay. You can use those experiences to learn about yourself and what you are looking for in a relationship. The sources also show that many times people are not who they say they are online and that there are catfish out there. Don't be afraid to verify that the person you are communicating with is who they say they are. Ultimately, dating should be about connection, mutual respect, and shared experiences. It shouldn't feel like an audition or a power struggle. It's also not a game, and you shouldn't be doing things for the plot. I think it's important to keep in mind that dating apps and social media are not the best way to meet people. It's okay to be delusional and dream of bumping into your soulmate at a coffee shop. We need to change the way we approach dating and prioritize the things that truly matter: integrity, kindness, and mutual respect. We should be with someone who appreciates our time and effort, who treats us as equals, and who is as invested in the date as we are. So let's raise the bar, fam. Let's not settle for less than we deserve. That's all I have for you today, fam. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you had similar experiences? What are your thoughts on the dating scene? I want to hear from you. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.